Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Newsboy Audio. Please like and subscribe down in the corner. There's a little hat down there. If you click on it, you can subscribe. Great way to see more of my videos. I will be coming out with more of these. We do rare gear and we show it off from all different manufacturers from all around the world. Some of the stuff I see is in Europe, comes from Europe, some of it's from America. Many of it's rare, many of it you never will see before. You may never see it again. There's a few speakers behind me, as you can see. Some of those are even rare. And we'll be coming out with videos on that as well. So like and subscribe my video. Click the hat. I think it's down there. Anyways, I don't know. It's not here. Today we're doing the Gustard. And we got the DAC X, okay, by Gustard. It is an HA, high, I think it's for certain types of headphones that are high resistant headphones it's built for. But I use it for a number of headphones anyways. And I use this as my office DAC. So these were plugged into the LS50s and it sounded great. I use this to power into my Wilsonton Audio. It's a Wilsonton Audio R8 amplifier. It has a preamplifier. And I've been working on trying to put speakers in my bedroom because I don't have a pair in there. And I found a DAC, this DAC here. It's the X DAC. It's by High Fidelity. It's the X DAC 3, version 3. And I paid about 125 euros on it, but it has no, it's got no preamp on it. And I've only got a power amp, the NAD 216 THX back there. And I'm doing a video on it, or just did a video on this, on how to inspect audio gear when you buy it used, or when you're doing a move like this. And I always do a visual audio inspection of used gear just to make sure it doesn't fail. And the reason for this is I've heard lots of stories of gear failing, destroying speakers, destroying listening, things like that. Not lots. It's very rare that it happens, but occasionally you'll have a problem, or you'll hear about a problem from someone where their gear failed and their speakers died. I've also heard some safety concerns where someone was modifying gear, disabling protective circuitry. It failed and sent a large high frequency signal down to the speakers, which then killed their hearing as well as the speakers. The person I was talking to said they were suffering from ear ringing after it, and it was quite tragic actually. He was playing around with things. He didn't use a capacitor or a dummy load when testing it. He didn't use a scope. And that's the risk you take when you buy or when you disable safety electronics. So don't do it. I mean, I can't recommend that any better. But I left the cover of this undone because I wanted to show you the innards of this. We have already done the visual inspection of it, and it looks great. This thing is a very high quality amp. You'll notice, first of all, the case. It's got a 1/8" aluminum plate top on it. The case is very heavy duty, weighs a ton, sign of good quality components. Inside, you see two giant transformers. They're not too big. I've got bigger ones over there in mono in my power amp, but for a preamp, these are really large. And they're, again, indicator of high quality amplifiers. These capacitor, I think they're called Nikon, but they're manufacturer of capacitors. I'm probably getting the pronunciation wrong, so I please apologize. But these are gold capacitors. They're the high quality capacitors, very good, meant for audio. And as you can see, no electrical goop on top of it. And throughout, they look very, very good. I see no problems whatsoever on any of these. I'm not touching it. This has been recently plugged in. Safety, as always, plate when you take off the cover. It's at your own risk. These large capacitors can kill you. I can't warn you enough. I take no responsibility for you electrocuting yourself. My advice is don't take off the cover. If you do it at your own risk. But you should inspect your visually or have someone who has experience with electronics inspect it. When I'm doing a visual inspection, I don't even touch any components. If you leave it out, it's better to leave them unplugged for 48 hours and then just not touch them anyways. These capacitors can hold a charge up to 48 hours, so it doesn't matter if you just unplug it. They still can hold a charge. Tube amps, I would not take off the cover without waiting 48 hours. They use high voltage in some cases. And high voltage is a different beast. You do not need to touch the components to be electrocuted always. If you get near them or close enough, they may arc to you and kill you. So be very careful. I can't express this. But I wanted to show you the innards because this is very indicative of a very high quality component. I think this was over $1,000 brand new. The biggest way you can tell, weight. If there's weight, there's a good sign. It's a really good component. But be careful. Some of these Chinese manufacturers in the past have used weights in these. Beats headphones have done this. And some of the Chinese manufacturers have transformer boxes that are filled with nothing but lead or metal. So read the reviews, look at what people are saying about them, see if they are repairable, see if they are using standard components, see if the schematic is available, other things like that when buying vintage electronics. Now, back to the DAC in front of me. This is a high input. Let's put this cover back on so we don't have any accidents and any problems. We're not going to screw it on to save you some time. But this DAC here has a preamplifier. It has a balanced headphone, and it's got a headphone jack. This is a balanced amp. And if you start seeing these XLR outputs, it means it's balanced. XLR basically includes a ground with each channel. That eliminates or reduces ground feedback loops. If you have your preamp anywhere distance from your amplifier, you may have experienced problems with these. And an XLR amp, an XLR balanced connection can do that. Can fix that, make it. It also has a lower floor to noise ratio, but in many cases I have not had a problem. If equipment has RCA connectors, these are RCA connectors. Only generally it's good enough. And if you do have a ground feedback loop, shorten the distance between the two plugs. Put them on the same power strip. Put them right in the same outlets. This is your preamp and your amplifier that you want to do this to, or any other electronic components. Now, I've had problems. The biggest problem I've had with ground feedback loops that I have not been able to eliminate has been when I plug computers in to these devices using HDMI or USB. So what I generally will use is an optical if I can, and that eliminates the problem. But that's not always possible. So some of the better gear, you want to make sure that you plug those in the best. There's some filtering, noise filtering technologies out there. I haven't played with them, but that's really my biggest situation where I find ground feedback loops. I haven't experienced anything with this, but I again use optical in a stereo environment. If you need HDMI for your better signals, you need to go through some other hoops if you're having that problem and want to plug your computer. On the back of this, there's an HDMI connector. There's an optical, there is a USB, there's RCA plugs, there is a coaxial input for the, not the RCA, but this is the coaxial input for the SPDIF or digital input. And then there's these balanced outputs, which are beautiful. I love them. Love them. Anyways, then you got a AES EBU input here. I'm not really sure what that is. And then there's a switch for the voltage, 210 and 110. Below here is the fuse. If you have any problems with this, chances are the fuse dies. I have had a fuse die on me. I went out, bought a new one, and it started working immediately. But make sure you get the right fuse. There is an extra one in there, so check underneath this little tray in here, and you could pull it out. They're usually located under the power. Now, as far as how this thing sounds, fantastic. I'm a little bit more of a tube guy, and this is obviously solid state. I'm going to pull in this dusty old thing to show you what I've done, because I kind of cleaned this up already. But this is a Caviar tube hybrid amp off of Mass Drop. Great device, but I was using this to play around with tubes and enjoy that, and it works really nice. I'll come out with a video on that later, but I basically outputted these RCAs into this and then would play my headphones through that, or play my headphones directly on this, or use this just for a DAC. And that worked all great. I've been very happy with it. The sound is very, very crisp. It's one of the best DACs I own. And I'm not trading it. I'm just moving it to another room with a different set of gear, different set of speakers. And we'll be using the X DAC for the office for now. It looks like it's gotten a little scraped up, so we'll try to clean it up. When I'm cleaning these up from dust, I use a cotton cloth or use some of the, they're called gear wipes. They're anti-scratch gear wipes. These surfaces can get scratched up from paper towels, so I recommend not doing that. And enjoy these gear. This thing, I've been very happy with it. Like I said, it's got some low, high passes. I don't use it above 192 kilobits per second because the optical will only support that. I've used the USB, but I had a problem with that computer and ground feedback, so I stopped doing that. And I didn't notice any difference when I went up to DSD 256. I don't notice when I go from 44 hertz to 96 hertz or 192 hertz. So, anyways, that's a great gear. Gustard A20H DAC, highly recommended. DAC X. Anyways, like and subscribe my channel. I think the link is there. There's a little hat down there, Newsboy audio hat, you know. Click on it, click the subscribe and like it. And we will, if you see anything I said incorrect in this, please comment down in the descriptions. I don't always get everything right. I'm not perfect. I definitely make mistakes on these videos. So always check the description for comments and corrections. And as always, be safe. Play at your own risk. And keep watching. Thank you.